quick round of introductions. Perhaps Sarthak, if you can go first, and then we'll on to Pratiq.
Okay, thanks. So I'm Sarthak, as of now Deputy CFO for Legrand Group India and heading finance transformation, digital transformation mainly. But it's been 12 years I'm working with this group, and I've worked in different zones, you can say, starting from a junior till this kind of a level. And I guess one of you guys, something similar?
Pratiq.
Thanks, Sarthak. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pratiq. I spell it differently. I spell it as Pratiq. So people say YQ, and I think you should be asking why IQ. So that's how I make it different. So I lead the part of Deloitte, the digital transformation initiatives, but not everything. Areas which are very close to what we do from a financial reporting standpoint, and Concur is a part of that particular offering, and I lead the Concur offering for Deloitte. I also look at the ESG reporting side for our practice. So that's what I do for a living, day in, day out.
Thanks, Pratiq. So maybe I'll jump right into it. And Sarthak, if I may oversimplify the CFO role, how it used to be maybe 20 years ago was, how people saw it was, yes, they're the people who match trial balances, right? So the CFO role has really changed from what it was 20 years ago, and you find yourself at that intersection where, constantly people are looking at you for data and insight. And Hoshi in morning session spoke about how CFOs will be the next CEOs, right? So talking about that insight and data, can you maybe give us a few real life examples of scenarios where you were able to deliver such insight for in Legrand and
Yeah, sure. So the one thing which is good that, okay, what he mentioned that CFOs can be the next CEO one. So I take it as a motivation. Yes, I really agree. Long time back, when even I started my career, I can say a decade back, more than a decade back, it was actually considered like the accounting is basically of all about Excel and trial balance and matching. And at the end of the financial year, you need to make one kind of a balance sheet and P&L to submit. But today, unfortunately, our job is now increased. People are more coming towards us for getting some kind of insights because we are having the data lake of all the insights and everything. So with the help of that data, we are helping all the stakeholders, you can say so. So something related to scheme simulations, what do you want to do? So eventually, because we have the data, so we can help them in planning this kind of a thing, that what kind of a schemes we should prefer or go on with the past historical things and all. You can say something very recent thing which I can share with you guys. We started working on some kind of a pricing tool. So that was basically, you can say, all the sales data which everyone is having, but we tried that, okay, let us go for a more insight on it and let's go more deep onto it. And we found and we focused more on the margin killers, because every company will have some or the other margin killers. So because as a part of portfolio, you will be selling all those things, but there will be certain things which will be a margin killer for you. So we focused on certain of our margin killers, and we observed that, okay, if in case we start focusing on it, either by changing our pricing strategy or either by discontinuing them, because we feel like that we are not getting it as a part of basket. People are using it that, okay, it's cheaper from Legrand. Okay, I buy this product and rest of the things I can buy from Legrand's friend. So certain things we focused, and then with all this data, getting into this, I can quote the value, but yes, we saved a lot on this, and that was one of the very appreciated thing from a management side.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's a very good real life example. So Pratiq, coming to you, I mean, I think putting an analysis together, of course, is one aspect of it. And I mean, there's obviously a lot of crucial aspects in terms of data visualization and storytelling. I mean, you can look at data, but unless you can see that story and visualize that data, you're really not able to get the final outcome. So maybe can you share some best practices about, presenting that complex data in an easy and understandable manner?
Sure. I think the rule of thumb there, to the opposite of actually what everybody believes, less is more. I think that's the basic rule that we have to go ahead with. And depending on what, because the requirement of everybody is different. And depending on what your audience is looking at, you have to come up with structures. Also, the old feeling, and I think I will probably go back to what Sushant said, only giving data and numbers is not making sense. People are looking at many more different ways of presenting information, be it bars, be it pie charts, because they are, and it's a very old thing, right? We all have kids, we learn with kids as well. Just putting data to them doesn't help, but if we are doing with pictures, we are doing with a lot more things different, it really makes a lot of different impact. I can talk about two examples which I have dealt myself, and one is very recent. We are looking at a large project, and one of the key elements of the project is how we staff that particular project. And then we of course had a team, and the manager put the most newly added team member to that, and he presented 3 slides for the same flowing data. By the time I came to the second slide, I lost interest. I think we just went back to the drawing board. I said, put this 3 into one structure where we talk about start to end what we are looking at, put all the elements which are critical and how those will be impacted if we do not meet this, is where one slide picture made a difference. On another project, if I can talk about, we had a large mandate to clear off backlog for last 3 years. Right. It was not just a cleanup, but it also involved a lot of system change. So with that, the management wanted to know what is it that we are achieving. The significant amount of time as we are spending on the data point, we spend time on the one deck, which we call as the dashboarding, identifying what are the elements management is looking at, what are the triggers we are trying to change, and how both of them get married. The moment we had that, the result was visible. It was always there. It was visible, and management was able to take a note of it using charts, using numbers, using ratios. It really made a difference. And then we started adding elements to it. So let's say it was a weekly report. We started even putting red flags for next week. Let's say next week there were 2 holidays. We said it's going to impact your performance next week, so be mindful that the performance will be down. And next week, why it was higher, we also explained that. So that provided a lot of insights in terms of what, so again, what the audience is looking at needs to be kept in mind before coming to that.
Oh, fantastic. Very practical advice. So, but I think, and I spoke a little bit about this during the presentation also in terms of the data accuracy piece. It's very easy for us to talk about the great analysis that which can drive outcomes, but reality is it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So, so when you face data accuracy challenges, what are some of the common challenges that you face, and in your experience, what are some of the things that you're doing, Sarthak, to fix those issues?
So I really agree with your point, garbage in, garbage out. And actually that kind of a thing happens. And I feel like the major reason why this kind of a thing happens is because people are not aware. So coming back to the point that awareness is required, this is the main thing, because a person who is filling in some kind of a data is not aware of that this data is going to be used for what. He feels like, okay, this is my job. They've asked me to fill in the KYC form, or let's say my CRM guy is asked that, okay, you need to get a new customer code created. You need to provide these details. But then he is not feeling like, yeah, why it is important to provide this. But you never know when tomorrow, when we'll be working on a customer classification or a customer segment kind of a thing, or proposing some kind of a special details for something, if in case this data is not right, eventually it will lead to a business disaster. So, and I guess there are certain things because of the awareness or indiscipline kind of a thing, people fail to do so. It happens with us as well. We feel like when we are working on some or the special data analysis and all. The points what we try to do to cover up is basically to have some kind of a data validation setup. So when we say that, okay, you need to provide in the data, we give them some kind of a predefined templates with some kind of a data validations in it, so that at least they're bound now that they'll have to, though we'll give them a remark column, they can have all those kind of things provided. Something similar, like today there is a session of going on Industry 4.0. People are more and more going towards this. So I come from a manufacturing background, so that kind of a thing. So over there is also one of the thing that instead of my operators filling in something on the job cards, we are now moving towards more digital, where we have the barcode scanners, or we have some kind of a job card scanner, so we know that, okay, what is the outcome and all. So that's the main thing we try to do, more on the digital, I guess, which can help on the accuracy stuff. For me, like what you said, garbage in, garbage out. I feel like for any kind of analysis, actually the bill of material for that analysis is the data entry. So if that is not correct, obviously your analysis can't be.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. So, Pratik, and I think I'm going to change track slightly a little bit. I think we've been talking too much about data and analysis, but I think I feel as if we're sitting here and talking about this over-reliance on data. But I mean, with these quantitative insights, you also have to balance it out with like real-world human intelligence, right? So how can organizations effectively, use this data and combine that with human judgment to really achieve the outcome?
I think, Aneesh, what it is really called in real terms is what we call as what-if analysis. I think the more you can use data for what-if analysis, it's really helpful. And the only example that comes to my mind is I know because we got involved in it 3 years back, almost everybody, when COVID struck. We had as is bad and worse situations, and we all know we actually landed in the 4th position. But this was drawn on day one, at the onset of the pandemic, and it really provided insights in terms of what other levers you could change. So let's say, in my case specifically, let's say the business drops. What are levers you need to pull to ensure that at the end of the year you are still profitable, right? Or how could you work around with different elements? I think that's where a lot of elements of human judgment and system data points came into play. One thing again, it really strikes me very well because I'm also an ESG proponent. When I am going to let's say a portal for booking airlines or booking any travel medium, I'm only given an option in terms of price.
Right.
If I am added that flavor, that by taking this particular flight, your carbon footprint is going to be X. Or if you go by this alternate medium, you could be reducing it by probably half. That's a data insight which I can use. And I know I'm not talking about here because I'm talking on a Concur platform, but
Sure.
Concur has those elements
Sure.
built in.
Yes.
And then the moment you add those two, the decision making becomes very, very, so there is a guilt feeling when you're making that particular airline booking or a flight booking, and then you make a decision consciously of using the data available and your own judgments on the what basis. So I think it has to be a mix of both. I'm reading it very frequently today, how AI is coming into play, and then it probably will be a route out for human intelligence, but I don't think so. There are a lot many things where human intelligence will have to be involved along with data, and this is only going to up the game and not going to make any more disruption.
It's interesting
Yeah, I agree.
talk about AI, and that's like a very good segue into my next question, because I was about to say that no conversation about data in today's world can be complete without talking about AI, ML, and it used to be buzzwords a couple of months ago, but now it's like a reality, right? So, have you, in your experience, already started incorporating some of these in your data analysis, etc., or do you plan to? What's the roadmap look like for you?
The answer is a definite yes.
Yes.
The degrees change, but I can talk about one example that we are using, and it's not just AI or ML. We use technologies like OCR, many of them put together. And the area where we are actually using it a lot is reading and assessing contracts, where we put in, let's say, simple transaction like let's say leasing, right? Large conglomerates probably have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 lease contracts, and because they are built on a single platform with a single legal team being in place, they are very consistent. And once you start coming up with those type of elements, there are systems in place which can read 5-7 contracts and prepare its own intelligence, and then the balance, they start picking up the right clauses that you need to look at for. Right. And then we take it to the next level. We also make use of that particular intelligence to come up with a standard contract when we're getting into new lease. Fantastic. So I think this is probably one of the example. I've seen it coming up in many elements, be it expense booking, be it your review process, identifying of from audit rule standpoint, coming up with exceptions. There are many use cases for AI and ML that are coming up. But yes, I think this is the start of the journey. The challenge is how much we can apply and anticipate and use it. The uses are probably unlimited. We only limit it by our own capacity. I think that's the point there.
Fantastic. And Sarthak, from your point, do you have any areas?
Though we have some areas, but obviously not like them, because they're not only working for your own company or even helping others to get that thing done. So for us, you can say so. Who doesn't know now AI, ML, Chat GPT, and everything is available. So, but for us, yes, like what you mentioned for the OCR. So now these days it's IOCR, which is more of an intelligent OCR. So we are using intelligent OCR for some of our process of invoice processing. So that is one thing. Even I consider SAP Concur as one of the thing which have a machine learning kind of a thing, because we use OCR in that. We have the machine learning facility. Rather, that gives us an insight for our comp and ben team to define some policies, because we have the data now coming in from Concur and all those things. So these kind of a things, certain things we are in pipeline. So they are in the plan. The recent thing what I can share, we are working on as a pilot project is on social media listening. So there is a kind of a tool which we can try to use that, okay, what people are talking about Legrand on social media and all those kind of a things, so that we can get the insight. So these are the areas actually.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen. But before I end, I just wanted to check in the audience, are there any questions for the panel? None? Okay.
So again, as you said, either we did a good job.
No, you guys definitely did a good job, but thank you very much, gentlemen.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for coming today. And
Thank you.